All right, perfect. It's a kind of a race against time because my internet can sometimes decide to go flaky right in the middle of my interviews, and that's never a good thing. So we're
Oh, all
talking
good.
to the one and only Mackenzie Porter this afternoon. And so how you holding up today there, Mackenzie?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm excited to finally have this new little project out in the world.
Yeah, so you've got, I guess, one of the reasons for this conversation is some new music coming up tomorrow, um, and so I know that you're pretty stoked about it. Your team's pretty stoked about it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this new project and what we can expect?
Yeah, so this project is really like the last couple of years I've been releasing singles and I wanted them to all be on one record. So it's like a collection of everything I've put out so far, plus a new song that nobody's heard before that I wanted it to be like a little bonus track on it. And basically it's just like me wrapping up the last couple of years, wrapping up this project and getting ready to start a new record next year.
Cool. So this all drops tomorrow. Now you've had an insane last few years. It was funny as I was kind of doing my prep for this interview. I was just kind of doing some digging, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but you're one of the first artists I ever featured when Soundtrack first started out. Um,
Really?
we started out actually underneath the Ottawa Citizens banner here in the Ottawa area uh, back in 2011, just before the Capitol hoedown.
I 1000% remember that.
And so I was doing features leading up to the event on a lot of the artists that were coming in. So it's funny. I was looking at your Wikipedia, and it was actually cited in there from the Ottawa Citizen article. So I went back and I'm like, wow, that's like a long time ago. And the headline, I had to write it down. It's Mackenzie Porter is almost ready to take off. Fast forward to 2020. And so, cruising altitude, what are we at? 30,000 feet now? I mean, you're flying
I mean,
high.
I mean, if I look back at that, look, that's a good indication that like I've been working at this for a long
Yeah,
time, and this industry is not fast. Like you see, like all these people that like blow up overnight, if you will, but it's not. It's never that. It's like years of hard work before that.
100%. I mean, you see these artists, when they kind of break out, and I think what a lot of people don't realize is that almost the decades of work that go into it before they break out. I mean, just I always use Brett Kissel as an example because I know him very well and I've gotten to know him very well over the last number of years. But he was recording music about 15 years before anybody knew who he was. I mean,
Yeah.
so he was like this kid and just getting his name out there, and then fast forward like 10, 15 years, and that's when he got his record deal. And then things kind of went pretty quick from there. But there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and I think it's a real testament to the artists that do get to that breakout point. Because I mean, as you know, I mean, it's very easy in that period of time to really get frustrated and say, I've had enough, I'm done. you know
Hmm.
and then you add 2020, which is the year of years, and it's brutal for the music industry. I mean, the industry that I always say comes to the rescue of everything else. Like whenever there's a problem or somebody needs help, the music industry throws a benefit and raises all this money to help it out. Well,
Hmm.
right now the music industry is in desperate need of a benefit, and who's going to help them out, right? So um to be able to be an emerging artist through 2020, and actually, I mean, from somebody who's really breaking out over the last couple of years, what advice would you have to an artist that's kind of at that kind of the cusp right now of maybe 2020 would have been their breakout year, and then global pandemic shows up and says, yeah, we're not doing anything this year, maybe not even next year. What would you say to them?
I think like right now, for every artist, like whatever phase you're at, it's our job to like be creative in new ways to like create content and be active online because it's really the only thing we can do. And to keep exercising like your songwriting ability or you're like playing guitar. Like I think you have two choices right now as a artist in this time. You either like figure out new ways and work your butt off in these new ways, or you sit back and you wait. And I think we'll see like once this is all over, like the people that have been writing this whole time and create this beautiful album out of like them actually having time to sit there and
Right.
create, or the ones who are just waiting for it to be over. So I would say to younger artists, like keep working really hard right now, because this is actually the time that I think is going to matter the most in a year. Like, what did you do during this time?
Yeah. Now, I mean, of course, those who don't know you, and I don't know if there's anybody left out there that doesn't know who Mackenzie
Oh,
Porter is now, in Canada anyway. Um, you come from an incredibly musical background. I mean, of course, back when I featured you back in 2011, August 10th, 2011 was that feature. And, back then you were still known as Kaylin Porter's sister. And now it's,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So Kaylin Porter is Mackenzie Porter's brother. It's flipped.
We always like joke about that. Like I remember I was like, one day you're going to be my brother. And he will gladly admit that the tables maybe have turned a little bit. I mean, he's not in the industry anymore. So, but yeah, he's like super supportive, and like, we always joke about that.
I mean, and it's cool. I mean, he was obviously a good kind of preview, I guess, of the talent that came out of your family. And then, you really kind of took that and really ran with it. I mean, I did catch you again last summer at Boots and Hearts there. And, it's really, from a fan perspective, it's really incredible to see how your career has evolved over the last, it's only been 9 years. It feels like much longer, but I mean,
Yeah.
over the 9 years, I mean, this would have been a summer. I think we had this year 2 or 3 events that we had planned to see you live. One of which was the in Quebec there, the La Binière.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
Yeah.
we all know how that worked out. So, um, so now tomorrow you've got this new EP coming out. It's this new music, and I know Tiffany was saying in advance that she was like super excited and can't wait to crank it. You've got a new single coming out with it. What's the single that you're releasing with that?
So it's called The One. It's a ballad. It's like the first ballad I've ever released, and basically it talks about like being the one before the one, like the bridesmaid, the person that you're with that says they never want to get married, and then you break up and they marry the next person.
Yeah.
So it's like just another. It's honestly like the whole record is a heartbreak record, and this is kind of like the last song on it that wraps up that part of my life, which I'm not in anymore, but it was like, a big part of my life.
Yeah, of course you got engaged last summer now, I guess, right? It's been a year.
Yes.
Do you guys
Yep.
have wedding bells planned yet, or is that kind of on hold right now because of the pandemic?
Well, so we were supposed to get married May, but we actually eloped. So we are married
So
now,
everything left but the
we're gonna
party.
have just the party, which will be so nice because there's no pressure. Like we already know what it's like to be married now,
Yeah,
and we can just throw a big party with our friends and family and celebrate.
that's awesome. So, what do you have coming up? I mean, I know it's usually we talk about upcoming shows and stuff, but of course, right now nobody really knows. I mean, I know festivals are booking events for next summer, but I mean, what's the vibe in your circles? I mean, are you guys feeling that there might be something next year? Or are we looking at another year of status quo, another 2020?
I pray that people are touring out next year, like whether it's, in these kind of modified scenarios where it's like, people in pods or in their cars or whatever. We are trying to book a headlining tour. Like we're trying to do a bunch of stuff, but to be honest, like the venues aren't open yet.
Yeah,
So it's pretty hard to like book a venue when it's not even open, and there's 15 acts before you. We're all trying to get dates. We're all trying to like get back on the road. So it's an interesting time. Like, to be honest, it's a little bit stressful, and I want to get back out so bad, but
especially
obviously
with new
need people.
music. I mean, you've got new music. You want to get out there and perform it and let people hear it. That's a
Yeah.
big part of music, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
But
I
I
know
want I want people to be safe, and that is the number one, no matter what. Like I would never do a show that put anybody's health at risk.
no, absolutely. I think that's pretty much the vibe that you get from everybody. Who would want to say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do a show. I don't care if anybody gets sick," or even worst
Right.
case scenario, doesn't survive, because that's the reality of COVID, right? Where, you might just be in a situation where it might kill somebody. And I don't think anybody wants that on their conscience. So tomorrow is the new album, or the new EP, the single. And for those of you that are watching this first thing in the morning, it will be on our Canadian country playlist first thing in the morning. As soon as it drops, I'll have it in there. And yeah, we wish you the best of luck. And of course, more than anything, we can't wait to get out there and see you on stage again, and hopefully do this in person again next time.
Me too, me too. And I'm glad that you were like one of my first big interviews. So I appreciate it. It's like a full circle moment.
It is. It's really cool. And it's we're not going anywhere, and we look forward to kind of watching as you climb and climb and climb. And someday when you're doing a headline arena tour, we'll be there too.
Yes, I will get you tickets. I will.
All right, perfect. All right, well, thanks again, Mackenzie and Tiffany. I know you're back there listening. Best of luck tomorrow, and we'll see you on the road.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.